Okay, folks, we're in for some fun today. Yep, it's the last episode of Kamen Rider and Super Sentai of the Heisei era as we move on to, what was it called again? The Reiwa era? I'll probably learn the pronunciation later. Yeah, it's Kamen Rider Zeo episode 33, Power Rangers Beast Morphers episode 8, and Ryusoulger episode 7. Oh yeah, and also this is the last episode of Beast Morphers before its Nickelodeon mandated hiatus, because of course. Uh, well, I can think of worse places to leave it off at, but I'll get to that later. But speaking of worse things, it's time for us to begin the Hibiki arc in Kamen Rider ZO. This is one I have been dreading for quite some time now. What most fans have been dreading up to this point, because, yeah, okay, before we even get started with this one, yeah, let's go and address the elephant in the room. Kamen Rider Hibiki is is one of the most infamous Kamen Rider series, specifically because of the guy who, coincidentally, happens to be producing ZO, Shinichiro Shirakura. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure when it. Like basically, in the Kamen Rider fandom, it's basically just agreed that in Kamen Rider Hibiki, all the episodes past episode 30 or 31, they never happened. Instead, it concluded with the Kamen Rider Hibiki movie, the seven War Oni or whatever it was. Yeah, basically, yeah, episode 1 to 31 happened, and then the movie happened, and that's the end of it. That's what the fans like to think. And just like that one night in Reno, like that one night in Vegas, episodes 31 and onwards, it's just something you just want to completely forget about. Why? Well, because Kamen Rider Hibiki was, basically Shinichiro Shirakura came in and pretty much just chucked out most of the writing and directing staff for that show and basically gave it a major rehaul. Yeah, basically getting rid of the two directors and writers that were responsible for it and placing Shoji Onomura and Toshiki Inoue in charge of the show and basically just forcing it into a drastic redirection that the fans just absolutely despised. Yeah, the staff changes in Kamen Rider Hibiki are infamous. I'm pretty sure that if you go searching for Kamen Rider Hibiki staff changes on Google, you could get like several exposés as to how that happened. Basically, it was a result of a couple of factors. Most prominently being, well, if I remember right from Easy Writer's review of Hibiki, basically it came down to two factors. One, the show was getting complaints from parent watch groups because, of course, yeah, basically some of the elements for the show were kind of a little bit much for kids. You know, basically lots of blood, gore, etc., etc., etc. You know, basically the juicy stuff. And secondly, they wanted to drive up toy sales and basically just, well, as a certain little gnome guy would say, merchandising, 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 where the real money from the movie's made. Kamen Rider Hibiki the toys. Kamen Rider Hibiki the coloring book. Kamen Rider Hibiki the flamethrower. To drive up merchandising sales and to appease the complaints from parent watch groups, they basically forced a drastic retooling of the show, completely just scrapping like the last chunk of what was originally planned. And yeah, it actually got so bad that the final episode of Hibiki was actually being rewritten while it was shooting. I mean, yeah, that's just, if anybody thinks that Jonathan Zacker's handling of Super Mega Force, with the last minute cameos for the Veteran Rangers was bad, yeah, no, the Kamen Rider Hibiki staff changes makes that look about as well coordinated as Saturday Night Live or South Park. I mean, it is, for what I could tell, it was infamous to the point where the actor who portrayed Hibiki, Shokeki Hosokawa, has basically just refused to reprise the character, show up for any future crossovers from Toei, because, yeah, Shirakura burned the bridges with him that badly and scattered the cinders to the wind. Yeah, basically firing the director that Shigeki was, he was best buds with. Apparently like outright firing. I'm not exactly sure, but it was bad. it was very, 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 very bad. And yeah, it was this whole incident that basically cemented Shinichiro Shirakura as Japan's answer to Joe Quesada over at Marvel for Spider-Man One More Day, to Dan DiDio at DC, basically with Countdown, The New 52, etc. Basically, he lumped Shirakura into that level of creative control, incompetence, and spite. I mean, yeah, you could argue what you say about One More Day or The New 52. Yeah, they were just very questionable creative decisions. But I'm pretty sure that at least in Didio and Quesada's minds, they wanted to, they did it just to move the characters that they loved to do while more favorable positions. But Shirakura, yeah, no, he's pretty much gone on record that any tokusatsu that he himself wasn't directly involved with, he has directly said that they are juvenile trash. And let's see, what was his track record most recently? Oh yeah, Kamen Rider Amazons. And also Kamen Rider Zio, Kyryuger Brave, and what else? Well, I mean, you get the point. Yeah, no, Shirakura is kind of, this is from a guy who literally doesn't know what the definition of heroism is. I'm not even joking about that. He literally sees the protagonist in Kamen Rider as the villains. And yeah, from what we've seen with Decade, and most likely what we've already seen with Zio, it's just pretty clear that Shirakura is not someone that should be left in charge of this franchise, to the point where apparently there was a Japanese pull from the Japanese fan polls to basically just get him out of there, just get him out of Toei, just they don't want anything to do with him. They do not. Oh yeah, another thing that he's infamous for: the Taisen movies. Yeah, every single one of them were helmed by him, and they were all critically panned disasters that betrayed the characters that betrayed the previous Kamen Riders, the characters of the previous Kamen Riders, and were just pretty much financial sinkholes for Toei. And yeah, they stopped. They finally managed to convince Shirakura to pull the plug on the Taisen movies like a year or two back, and thank whoever's up there for that decision. But yeah, no, I do not, and just like with Didio and Quesada, we have absolutely no idea why in God's name Toei is keeping Shirakura around. They know he's bad for business, they know that he's basically a financial and reception sinkhole. I don't know. And yeah, the Hibiki arc is pretty much just going to be a culmination of that. And yeah, it starts off bad right away when addressing, well, one of the ending plot points from Hibiki. I personally haven't seen Hibiki, but again, I've seen Easy Writer's review of it, so if you want to, hopefully it's still around somewhere on the internet. But yeah, the long and short of it is, one of the mandated changes that Inoue did was, or Inoue and Yonemura were responsible for, was for introducing a rival character named Kirya Kyosuke. No, let's see. Hold on. Yeah, Kirya Kyosuke. Yeah, whose actor would later go on to portray Sakurai Yuto in Kamen Rider Den-O, but yeah, Kirya, the only reason he actually tries to train under Hibiki to become an Oni, the Kamen Riders in Hibiki aren't actually Kamen Riders technically. They're, they refer to themselves as Oni, who are charged with protecting people from creatures called Makumo. It's a long story. Anyways, the only reason why, from what little I was able to research, the only reason why Kirya actually wants to become Hibiki's successor, it's because of his daddy issues. I am not even joking about that. So yeah. That makes that perfectly explains why he was chosen to be the next Hibiki. Actually, no, wait. Remember when I said that the final episode of Hibiki was so slapdashed and rewritten at the last minute? Yeah, Kirya was the one who became an Oni, even though his rival Asumu, the guy who was originally trying to become Hibiki's apprentice, Kirya was the one who became an Oni, because Asumu was the one that Hibiki chose as his successor. Again, I could easily be getting this wrong. I could be easily pulling it right out of my ass. But that's that's basically what I was able to glean from looking up the Toku wiki, the Kamen Rider wiki. So yeah. obviously a guy like that is, yeah, it's pretty much all but confirmed. Kiria is going to officially succeed the previous Hibiki as the new Hibiki. Yeah, the one thing, yeah, the fans would pretty much, and I can already hear the fans in Japan just, well, I sense a great disturbance in the force, as if a million voices cried out in terror and were suddenly silenced. Yeah, I can already hear that fanboy rage all the way from here. Mm. So, yeah, he's basically going to become the next Hibiki, but in the meantime, apparently he's managed to screw up in other ways, because, yeah, one of Sogo's classmates, let me see, what was the kid's name again? Hold on a second, just, oh yeah. Apparently, Kyosuke had himself also was trying to train a new Oni, named Tsutomu Suzumiya. But apparently, somehow, basically Kyosuke just dropped him like a prom dress, and Tsutomu was basically left to stew in his own juices and just absolute ire towards Kyosuke, which made him absolutely perfect for to show up and turn him into another Hibiki. Yeah, yeah, Satomu as another Hibiki has basically just been going around on a rampage trying to lure out Kyosuke. But of course he runs afoul of Sogo and Gates. But where's Waz? Well, Waz is all. He's basically got his own thing going on. He knows it's Sogo's birthday's coming up, and he basically wants to make it the most bombastic, grandest, most unabashed, most proud celebration of his Omazio ever. Yeah, basically, he's trying to figure out a way to properly celebrate. Basically just go as over the top as possible, celebrating, worshiping his Mao. And so he's basically taken to Kyosuke's training to, bashing on the taiko drums. Basically just, celebration, loudness, bombast, perfect! So yeah, while he's literally just playing with his sticks, his beloved Demon King and his second banana are getting their asses handed to him by a jealous asshole. Yeah. At first they think that one of the returning cast members, Todoroki, another Oni Todoroki. Yeah, Todoroki was actually the one who was trying to track down and stop another Hibiki. Even though, according to him, when a student goes insane and tries to go on a rant, when an Oni goes and breaks the rules of the Takashi Company, that's the organization all the Oni belong to, by the way. Basically, it's the master's job to go and take care of his wayward pupil. But again, Kyosuke is a complete and utter. Well, okay, to be fair, okay, not being fair here. Apparently, Kyosuke is not, like I said before, next episode he becomes the proper Hibiki. Right now, he has not inherited the title of Hibiki, and by proxy, the powers, etc., etc., etc. So yeah, he's still in his white Oni form from how he was at the end of the original Hibiki series. Just this white nameless Oni who isn't strong enough to and pretty much lacks the moral confidence to go and basically deal with his wayward former disciple. Yeah, you could see why Asumu was originally picked to be Hibiki's successor, because he's not a conceited narcissistic prick that just leaves his very very bitter former apprentice to just wander around the world plotting revenge. Just wander around arcades playing Tekken, what was it, Tekken 7, the latest Tekken game. Yeah, nice little cross promotion there, Toei. Yeah, oh wait, he's playing the new Tekken game, cool. So, yeah, Waz is off playing with his sticks, and, Kyosuke knows that he's not the proper Hibiki, and yet he goads Sogo, Gates, and Waz to train under him to basically prove that they're worthy of becoming Hibiki, so that they can eventually get the Ride Watch. And yeah, that's the only reason that another Hibiki was running around on a rampage, by the way. Tried to do the same trick again by luring out Kyosuke, get the Hibiki Ride Watch, and transform Satomu into the true Hibiki. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what the time jacker strategy is with this. I basically just figured that if a knockoff writer was enough to do the job, that a proper writer would. Uh, but again, it's just all stupid, and yeah, the fandom ire, I can only imagine. Oh no. So yeah, next up, the fandom is gonna get their yeah. Yeah, Kyosuke is going to become the next common writer Hibiki. Sogo's gonna get the right watch from that, and we are just gonna hear the fandom just explode from anger. Mm, juicy. And all right, moving on to somewhat better stuff. We got ourselves the mid-break, episode 8 of Power Rangers Beast Morphers. Let's see. I forget the exact name of it. Basically, Scrozzle has finally started to make headway on his project to bring Evox into the real world to free from the cyber realm. All that he really needs to, in order to finish it, is for a body that's large enough to contain all of Evox's data. So they figured they need themselves a good robot body. And that's when Blaze of Roxy suggests to go and kidnap Nate and have him go and construct the new robot body. Construct a robot body for Evox. While this was going on, Nate was basically working on new Ranger working on some new weapons, including some new Morphers. So he needs some animal DNA samples in order to, make the things work. And so he has the Rangers escort him to go and collect DNA samples, and he gets a scarab beetle and a praying mantis. And why did they make those changes? I mean, couldn't they have just gotten to a stag beetle and a Hercules beetle, or the one with the big horn there? Ugh. I mean, they didn't have to say it was a Kawagata and a Kawagata beetle or anything like that. I'm pretty sure that they could find them in America or wherever they are. I mean, couldn't they have just gone to a zoo or something? Why change the Gold Ranger's power source to a praying mantis? I mean, with scarab beetles, wait a minute, scarab aren't they typically found in Egypt? I mean, forgive me for not exactly knowing enough about insects to know about this sort of thing, but when I think of scarab beetles, you think Egypt. Last I checked, they are nowhere near Egypt. Again, why the change? You're making unnecessary changes, guys. Stop it. Well, anyways, regardless, Nick manages to get the 2 DNA samples before he gets nabbed by Blaze of Roxy. And in the meantime, they also create a vacuum Robotron to go and suck up as much Morphex as it can to go and power up Scrozzle's gate. So that's where the Rangers are. And well, they nearly lost sight of the Robotron, but then the 2 comic relief doofuses, Ben and Benny, I think that's what their names are. Those 2 doofuses. They managed to luck their way into, basically leaving a tracker on the monster's truck, where they managed to go and track down Blaze, to where Blaze, Roxy, and Scrozzle were keeping Nate. And basically Nate knows he knows that if he makes a robot body for Evox, the world's doomed. So he basically just pulls what Tony Stark did in the first Iron Man movie, and basically just engineered his own escape right under their noses. And this makes Evox Society look kind of stupid because unlike in the Iron Man movie where they at least had him under security, had Tony Stark under security watch. They just basically figured, hey, Nate's a nerd little weenus, so, we don't need to worry about him. And, well, surprise, surprise, it kind of blew up in their faces. So, using some of the parts that Scrozzle managed to, scrounge up, including that distinctive head I kept hinting at, he manages to create a body for Evox. And but Nate manages to his communicator or whatever was damaged when Roxy and Blaze abducted him, but he managed to fix it up just enough to transport that new blaster morpher to destroy the gate, And then well, again using that what was it, the resequencer thing or whatever that Scrossel managed to steal. He bonded himself and the robot body with the praying mantis and scarab beetle DNA, and thus now Nate's the Gold Ranger. And the robot body, he's now sentient. Basically, he's sort of like a clone of Nate now. Basically bonded with his human and the scarab DNA, and now he's fully sentient and named what was it, Steel, I think. Yeah, Steel. Oh God, no! I'm getting flashbacks to Shaquille O'Neal. Thankfully, he's nowhere near. Thankfully, he's not like that. And yeah, Steel basically just seems to. Well, he kind of still borrows some superficial traits from Jay back in Go Busters, and basically he's always just popping up in front of Nate, and always. Well, he's definitely got a bit of an ego to him. Basically, he's kind of like a more tame version of Bender, only not as funny, and less booze. So yeah, anyways, he managed Nate and Steel. They're now the Gold and Silver Rangers, and they managed to get themselves out of harm's way. Yeah, how exactly did Nate get transfer his DNA to? Yeah, Steel was bonded with Nate's DNA. So basically, he's sort of a cyborg, kind of a. Oh no, wait, never mind. He's Vision. Yeah, basically they just sort of blended in, the first half of the first Iron Man movie with, creating Vision from Age of Ultron. Well, hey, if it works, it works, I guess. So yeah, we have ourselves the full set of Rangers, and we don't have, and well, actually they managed to do something that I've been waiting for them to do in Power Rangers for a long time. One of the reasons, I think it makes a lot more sense to have an already existing supporting character become a new Ranger instead of hiring on an entirely new actor. And thankfully, they finally managed to see that. Let's see, taking a priest. No, not Jason becoming the Gold Ranger back at Zeo doesn't really count because he wasn't like a reoccurring character or. It's basically what they were planning on doing with making Billy the Gold Ranger back at Zeo, and oh my God, I think I just realized what they did. Yeah, they basically did what they should have done back at Zeo and made the nerdy tech guy the new Gold Ranger. If that was your intent, I salute you. If not, then hey, happy coincidence. Yeah, basically, back on track here. It's a good way of keeping costs down and giving some development to a secondary supporting character at the same time. So, yeah, I mean, hey, Nate's now the Gold Ranger, and he has himself that robot that he's always wanted. Just as long as Steel doesn't constantly start drinking, as long as he doesn't start constantly drinking Morphers and interrupting him. Okay, we know he's already going to constantly interrupt him, but just as long as he doesn't suddenly hold up a bunch of bananas. So, banana. Or become the guardian of the forest once this whole Evox mess is over with. Ugh. But yeah, pretty much standard stuff from there. Alright, moving on to Ryusoulger episode 7, where, yes, because Tank Joe is completely fizzled out, we have ourselves our new general of the Druidons leading the charge, Ryusoulger. He's a big blue nut job with a top hat. He has mind control powers, and again, he's nuttier than a payday bar. Yeah, apparently, according to two princess. I forgot. The focus on this episode is not only introducing Ryusoulger, but also establishing his MO via two of his escaped slaves. These two in particular were former princesses who basically, their entire kingdom, planet, whatever, was completely wiped out by the Druidons, and most of them were enslaved thanks to Ryusoulger's hypnosis tricks, Ryusoulger's hypnosis abilities. Yeah, he's basically like, what is it, like Glorious Godfrey mix? He's basically what would happen if you mix Glorious Godfrey from, like the New God stuff, with basically Sander Cohen for BioShock. Yeah, he's a manipulator, a hypnotist, and he's completely and utterly loco. And yeah, his hypnotism skills come into play today when there's a new Minosaur on the loose who's able to knock people out with his hypersonic screech. and apparently this new Minosaur was born from a former one-hit wonder. And yeah, apparently the guy's voice is so bad. Yeah, it transferred to the Minosaur as a knocking out shriek. And the only reason that anybody was able to stop it, well, okay, spoilers, the Minosaur actually manages to get away because, well, during the final fight with it, he actually managed to hide behind a Ferris wheel full of children as basically as a whole bunch of hostages. Yeah, these guys really love using hostages today, so that it could retreat. And yeah, the only reason that Cole wasn't knocked out was because, well, Yui gave him a pair of earbuds because he was planning on exploring the world just to see how things have changed in the last 200 years. And yeah, apparently the Ryusoulgers are apparently they're immortal since, yeah, according to Ko, he's 209 years old. And he spent most of the time inside the village training to prepare for the Minosaurs. Which, yeah, definitely explains more than a few things. If he never stepped foot outside if he, Melto, and Azuna never stepped foot outside the village, that would explain why Ko isn't exactly the most. Well, actually, no, the guy's kind of a ditz most of the time, but it kind of explains why he doesn't know as much as he should. But well, he unlike with Zyuranger, where why the Rangers there never do anything about the modern world was why they actually do stuff about the modern world when they were asleep for 10,000 years since Pandora's last little rampage never got answered. Thanks again, Shirokura. And Ryusoulger is actually kind of addressed since, well, how else do you learn about things by checking out the world around you? And in Ko's case, he was actually watching TV with Tiramigo. To basically, you could basically just explain that. And yeah, since Yui's a YouTube personality, she could have easily have shown, let's see, Ko, Meruto, and Asuna, basically YouTube videos, basically just explaining how everything's all. Oh, it's basically that scene from Austin Power for the first Austin Powers movie where, where he realized it's not the 60s anymore and basically spent like the whole night binging on like history videos from the last 30 or so years. I can't believe that Liberace is gay. I mean, women loved him. I didn't see that one coming. Yeah, the fall of the Soviet Union, the counterculture, and yeah, again, Liberace turning out to be gay. Yeah, I mean, hey, in the 60s, you never saw that one coming. But yeah, anyways, that could easily be explained. And yeah, also because Ko and Tiramigo are watching TV, Tiramigo's starting to learn Japanese. Yeah, it's slowly but surely, but hey, they now have themselves a mini Zord that can talk. And I'm pretty sure that's going to come into play later. And yeah, anyways, these two princesses who managed to escape from Waizoru landed on Earth, and one of them landed with, let's see, with Bamba and Toa. Yeah, I'm starting to get their names now. While the other one was abducted by the new Minosaur. And yeah, Waizoru is, well, yeah, he managed to actually use a bunch of children as living hostages to make sure that Ko didn't get to him. And apparently he managed to instill them with martial arts because 3 of the kids that were keeping basically acting as willing basically part of his army of hostages, they did some pretty impressive martial arts that sent Ko flying. I mean, yeah, points for those 3 kids. They definitely knew what they were doing. They definitely looked like they knew a thing or two about like a little. Yeah, they did some pretty impressive stuff for kids. What does that remind me of? Actually, kind of reminds me of the Pancake Kid from the original Cabin Fever, where he just suddenly started doing all these flips and martial arts stuff out of nowhere. And yeah, Eli Roth just left that in the movie because, yeah, he was just that impressed with it. He was like, you know what? Screw it, we gotta do this. And yeah, only this wasn't an accident or just something as a silly, crazy gag. But yeah, anyways, thanks to the earplugs that Ko was given, he managed to stay conscious during the Minosaur's screech attack, and also managed to keep himself in control from Waizoru's attempted brainwashing. And apparently, when the Minosaur tried to use the hostage kit, the army of hostages to attack the Ryusoulgers, the princess they were guarding apparently managed to break the hypnosis with her singing. And they explain it's because kids have very short attention spans. And you couldn't have phrased that in a better way. Whatever. And yeah, it's actually kind of funny. I've been watching like Let's Plays of Sam and Max Save the World, and they could have easily just broken the hypnosis just by giving them the kids a good bonk on the head. Although, maybe it'd be fine, watching. It wouldn't exactly fly if our heroes actually, the real, if the real soldiers were seeing bonking kids in the head and unconsciousness. Maybe if they had themselves an anthropomorphic rabbit with absolutely no scruples, just going around with a punching glove doing it. Because gratuitous violence solves everything. Well, most things, little buddy. Apparently, this is just one such case. But yeah, the Minosaur managed to get away, and most likely his host is, well, yeah. I mean, the Minosaur was already giant size when it managed to retreat. So, if anything, its host has got some very small time left. And yeah, when the episode wrapped up with the two princesses reuniting, they mentioned that the Ryusoulgers with their Kishiryu managed to stand a chance against the Druidons, which immediately raises suspicions from Melto, since none of them ever mentioned that they had to the princess that they were looking after about the Kishiryu. So what the hell? And of course, Asuka was like, "Oh, you're thinking too much." Yeah, no, they know something that we never told them. That is immediately suspicious. So I'm guessing, if anything, maybe they just heard about the Kish. Well, okay, we're gonna figure it out what happens next week. So, all right, yeah, Zio is burning ire. Beast Morphers is taking a break on a good note, and Ryusoulger is starting to drum up some suspicion, some intrigue, and we have ourselves a wacky-tastic new general. So. I forgot. Waizoru is a big blue freak show, but he's still nowhere near as freaky as the Demon Sonic. Oh god, yes, we've seen the trailers. Remember a few months ago when all we had to worry about was Will Smith Genie haunting our nightmares? Good times. Good times. And yes, I know Sega said they're going to revise the design, but it will never leave. It is going to live on in memedom forever. Bye.